That and set. Gohan on the left, WTK on the right. Both of which decide to go with the 6-3. WTK takes their T-spin earlier. WTK forecasting more T-spins, but they are going to be forced to waste T. But of course, this is versus, so it doesn't matter. Now they're still in a pretty precarious spot because Gohan's just sending so much pressure. But WTK is going to find that swag color clear, and they're just going to start this zone as soon as they can. They're not going to give Gohan any time to stack up any kind of free pressure. And it's a very quick zone, and that's going to be a 64 ulti, setting the pace for what this game's going to be. That's the first zone of the set, and you already know Gohan's about to fire back something insane. 48 and 19, that's pretty good, but they end up taking a lot, and unfortunately for them, it doesn't come clean. So they're going to have to manage to downstack while dealing with WTK pressure on the side. A tall order, but it is possible. And WTK setting up this floating once again. Good vision, but unfortunate Q, forcing them to waste T. And we're gonna see the zoneless transition in a minute 22. These players are absolutely speed-running through these phases. And WTK just keeping this back-to-back going. Gohan's looking for that count to 4, looking for this donation afterwards. I think they wanted to count to 4 again, but that misdrop prevents them from doing a lot. WTK has options here. They're gonna choose to quick end it. They don't want Gohan to get time. But it's a little bit too late. Gohan has more than enough time. They have a C-spin, not able to take it in tandem, but it's still really good. Gohan finds that 17-line deck at Hexatris, sending 42 over to WTK. WTK trying to get their T-piece as fast as possible. They do have enough overcharge to survive. Of course, Gohan is still sending more and more pressure, and that's going to be the end of WTK's initial overcharge. And Gohan is able to pressure out WTK there and take the first round. Honestly, given the fact that they're both around like 15k, this can be seen as like Gohan's assessment. And I find that like a very interesting way to look at this match. How much do they deserve it? So far, they're showing a great time. Great capabilities. WTK setting up this Kaidon. Looking for the count to 4, they find it. Counting to 4 once more. Doesn't work out the best, especially after that eyepiece misdrop. Not something you want to be doing when Gohan's on the other side. Gohan unfortunately didn't have to break back-to-back there, but it's still a really efficient zone nonetheless. And then that S-piece misdrop happens! So they're gonna be locked to only send 37, and now WTK is in a prime position to potentially kill. They cascade all of their material, knowing that they have this opportunity. Gohan only has a quarter to their name, doesn't pop it even though it's forced. And that's a masterful punish by WTK there. They are now on the board, the game is now tied. Both players choosing to 6-3, and you know it's optimal when both players do the same start. Like, not only did they choose to 6-3, they chose to 6-3 in a very similar fashion. And the way WTK specifically 6-3 will always intrigue me. Because it always looks like they're making, like, a minor stacking error, like, oh, you might not have a place for this piece, and then it always just works out anyway. Which means they just have elite Q vision. Which is expected of a player of this caliber. But Gohan's finding some donations even this high in the board. Gohan's been known to be greedy. They've been seen to be greedy in just this event. But with the mindset of who's gonna stop them, they can greed away all they want. WTK at the bottom of their board, they're completely clean. They're gonna set up this fractal. They're ready to tank. They even wait to make sure they tank and not cancel. They have a triple-decker fractal, but they've already wasted their T. They see the next one in queue. But against Gohan pressure, they can't just cycle another one scot-free. They know this. They keep going down. That is a TST tower on Gohan's side, and they're gonna zone for it immediately into another count to 4. This is gonna be really efficient and really fast. They're gonna get max lines. That's gonna be 59, but it doesn't transition. But they are gonna transition by the time WTK finishes. WTK at 19 lines. They're not able to find the 20. That 20 was pretty much a requirement to survive the fallout. And with no overcharge, Gohan wins it in spectacular fashion. Oh my, that zone APM from Gohan is insane, because they didn't quick end any zone of theirs. That was all organic. Most of the time, zone APM's a stat that doesn't matter, but that time it was a statement. Both players in the 6-3. Gohan does receive the split receive. Very unfortunate to see in phase 1. But they're gonna have to manage. They got a down stack with WTK pressure, and finding that T-spin at the top of their board is a great way to do so. They know their limits. You better believe they're pushing them. Phase 2 bell happens. Do not see the phase 1 zone. We know these players are not scared about time. They know they can get a max zone from any time in the board. And WTK is going to start it from pretty low. They're going to go for efficiency, even though they had to skim for the first line. And wow, what a TST find. And they're going to find a TSD afterwards. Max back breaks, but it looks fine. They do get max lines. That's going to be 63 ulti. Very impressive numbers being sent to Gohan, who's able to counter with the 52 plus pre-pressure. Phase 3 happens, and Gohan decides to tank into phase 3. A very interesting decision. WTK sets up a TST. TST is not something you want to be receiving in phase 3. There's not too much you can do to prepare for that. But WTK is going with that TC special, mutually assured destruction strategy. It doesn't seem to be working out after those misdrops. And now they're going to have to deal with Gohan pressure. Gohan's in prime position. They send a little bit more pressure WTK out of zone, and then they're going to go ahead and pop it. They're going to take this as fast as they can. And they're not even going to IRS that. They're going to take it as fast as they can. They know exactly what they need to do. WTK in a very precarious situation. Even with the speed that WTK has, there's just not too many options they have to exercise with that speed. They're going to have to pray that they have overcharge. They have nothing. One tank, the second one isn't real. And Gohan takes the 3rd point. A very exhilarating match we have here. High octane, high stakes, high pressure. And that OP's misdrop from WTK isn't good! They have to hope they have the meter in order to get out of here. They have the initial. They're able to access their first well, but after that misdrop, they need to access their second, and it's not looking easy. Very nicely done. They have more meter. They're getting saved by phase 1. They have the double Tetris, bailed out by the Q again, too. Luckily for them, Gohan did end up misdropping their eyepiece. They're gonna have a tough time accessing the rest of their board. And with no IRS, they're not able to continue that to max damage. And WTK looks like they're gonna get out of here scot-free. Ooh, that mishold isn't good! Because Gohan was already capable of tanking, but now they know for sure that they're safe. You definitely don't want to be in a situation where Gohan's in 6-3 and they know they're safe. WTK setting up that T-spin, very good fundies, but unfortunately not the best time. They know that, and they just bail out of it as soon as they can. Don't want to take any chances against Gohan pressure. And WTK is going to start up their zone from the bottom. WTK has max zone, they get it! And Gohan's gonna have to deal with reduced time. They need to cancel out a 63, but they at least had a decent amount of pre-pressure. If Gohan gets max lines, they could be good. But once again, Gohan isn't very well versed with IRS. So WTK is going to get out of here with advantage scot-free. And that counter 4 into forecast TSD is really nice from WTK. And they're going to keep this pressure going as hard as they can. That ZP's misdrop from Gohan is terrible. Because now they're going to have to do some soft dropping. That speed that they are relying on so much is not going to do them any favors here. Expert final that overhangless to keep the stack nice. And WTK recognizes that no amount of out-of-zone pressure can kill Gohan in this moment. And they're going to set up this C-spin right after the follow-up. 32 plus C-spin. Not looking good if you're Gohan. You're going to have to go down as far as you can. But even then, your options are limited, especially after that placement. They're probably going to be forced to take this an STSD. Very greedy, but they're fast enough to get it off anyway. Oh no, they wanted to get that T-spin, but the Q didn't agree with them. They had to take some skims. But that's a very lucky well that they have here. And now they're allowed to take this T-spin. They zoned for it just to make sure. They were probably fine either way. They had overcharge. So even if WTK had kill shot, it just doesn't matter. But WTK still is in major advantage. They have the max zone. They have the combo starter. It's only a micro, but they still know that they can get maximum lines here. All the way up to 18. And that's going to be setting 43 over to Gohan, who has to downstack through so much cheese. It doesn't look very possible to get too much efficiency out of here. But you never question the odds in front of Gohan. They make it all the way to the bottom effortlessly. Both players completely man-made. WTK in the 6-3. Fractal from Gohan. The rule of 2. WTK wasn't ready for that double send. But WTK does have an amazing combo! 11 combo in the zone. That's going to send 40 really quickly. Gohan wasn't expecting it. But they still have more efficiency either way. They have planned A through Z at the ready. But unfortunately, they're going to be forced to tank everything else here, and that misdrop's going to force them to soft drop. They have a decent combo. They want a T-spin here, but they're going to be forced to zone for it. WTK in prime position to steamroll from this point onwards. And Gohan wasn't fast enough to cycle to that T-piece in time. WTK takes their second point and stops the momentum in its tracks. Very long, very intense phase 3s we have here. But when the matchup is of this caliber, it's only to be expected. Both players sitting in 6-3. Both players know where their well is. WTK wants that perfect count to 4 to access next well. That's exactly what goes down. Gohan in the fossil fuel stacking, forced by the game. Still manages to find really nice efficiency, even able to find this fractal. That misdrop doesn't look good. They're going to be forced to take some skims. Skims that require multiple wasted Ts. They want the second one. They get away with it. WTK just didn't have pressure in the moment. WTK gets that 5 micro. Expert back-to-back from WTK. But oh, that misdrop doesn't look good. They're going to be forced to zone at a very precarious time. And Gohan is aware. They see it. They're chasing it. WTK ends this as soon as possible. They know that more meter is their priority. And Gohan is aware they can get max lines, but they don't transition, which means that this take is clean for WTK. They're gonna get away with just about everything they shouldn't be. And they're gonna mitigate 34 and persist, immediately entering that 6-3 afterwards. Forecasting a T-spin. But of course that's not enough. They want more. Gohan's misdropping. They want to capitalize. But Gohan finds an amazing T-spin afterwards. Gohan's gonna be forced to do some micro combo just to survive. WTK pressure's looking insane right now. But Gohan's gonna downstack a significant portion of their board during this zone. Gonna find 16 line downstack, 35 lines of attack. WTK actually choosing the quick end here. Oh my goodness, that donation's insane into that cut copy. I can't even describe what that full shape was. But now Gohan's power stacking. We see the rare 3-wide in TEC. But they have both eyepieces at a time where they don't, so they're gonna get their combo cut short. But at the very least, that's still gonna mitigate everything WTK was sending. But now they have to deal with the TST, so they're gonna be forced to tank. WTK's getting this micro all the way up to 7. And Gohan wasn't ready for the 7 combo. And both at relatively even stats, but WTK is gonna edge it out. These players are genuinely neck and neck. The Gohan assessment was such a... It's actually like the perfect description of what this matchup is. And right now, the match isn't over, but they've definitely passed. They deserve their status. And oh my goodness, these players are so fast. Like, the tanks, and like, knowing when they don't have to tank is like, insane to see. Because go down like 1 tier lower, and half of the things that these players are doing aren't even possible. Not only are they fast, but they leverage the speed perfectly. And WTK knows better. They try and access their well. They take that Tetris as soon as possible. Counting to 4. Getting this T-spin. They know that efficiency is what they need. They do find the 20 in limited time. And they're able to take and get the garbage in the perfect column. WTK, despite losing the zone interaction by a long shot, is going to have this advantage by a long shot. And they don't want to tank anything. They cascade as much as they can before they're forced to. And Gohan's able to get that eyepiece over. I've seen so many players just crumple in that scenario where they're at the mercy of eyepiece finesse, but Gohan just knows better. Gohan's looking for the float. They find it. Their efficiency isn't looking too good here. Oh, who am I kidding? It's Gohan. They're going to be just fine either way, standing over 33. WTK now has no overcharge. They need to mitigate everything in this one zone. And that T-piece misdrop is going to seal their fate. There's no way out of that one. No skims, no meter. And Gohan is now at match point. These players have been neck and neck this entire set. But very soon it will be coming to a close. Both players choose a 6-3 off start. And Gohan is currently going crazy. They find this Kaidan into perfect count to 4 into the well. Misdrops and still manages to find a donation. Oh my gosh. Gohan almost dies. But it won't be that simple. Is Gohan trying to fin? Oh no, it's better. It's a C-spin. WTK sends over 54. But Gohan just has so much efficiency at their disposal right now. With IRS, they could have gotten max lines, which actually could have been kill threat, could have one-shot WTK there because they tried to tank. I don't think they really looked at how much they were receiving. They were just confident that they could. That's just a game sense that you need to play at this caliber. And we're gonna see a simul zone, and this will transition. Whoever wins this zone could possibly win the game, and by the looks of it, Gohan isn't getting max lines. They only send 22. WTK is in prime position to just kill on the spot. That misdrop sucks, but all it does is cause a quick end. Gohan sees the light of day, but they have a quarter to their name. It's gonna be tough to work with. Of course, that is WTK pressure on the other side. Gohan's not able to get the T-spin. The T-spin was forced. And with no meter, no skims, we are at tiebreaker scenario. Oh my goodness, it's so peak. Absolute cinema. I think this is the first tiebreaker we've seen in this day. It's crazy how close this game is. Gohan is the player who has done the best against their respective group Titan. And it would be a major upset if they managed to win this. But WTK, of course, doing everything in their power to prevent that outcome. And WTK is just gonna start it immediately, and looking at how fast this is like pretty much a quick end. Like, these are the zones why this zone APM is so high in these games. Because they're fast and efficient. Gohan going on the pure down sack. Just want to open up their well. When your opponents are capable of sending kill spikes at a moment's notice, you're not allowed to take any chances. Unless you are fully confident you can match it in the moment. And right now, it looks like it's gonna be a zoneless transition from WTK. But Gohan says no! Gohan is aware! They see what's happening here! And now WTK is gonna have to take the zone at reduced time, but most of the likely it's not gonna matter. Very nice donations from WTK. 58 is being sent over from Gohan's side. But WTK isn't gonna get max lines here. They're only gonna send 52, and Gohan's gonna be an extreme advantage. And when most players would take that T-spin, WTK sees the combo down stack all the way to 7. Really just showing you the difference of what's required to play at this level. The level and speed of thought going on is ridiculous. Gohan sends 34. It's not a lot for phase 3 at this echelon. So WTK has a shot, but those misdrops are going to put a hamper with the speed of this zone, giving Gohan more time to just pile on the post pressure. Gohan has that TST. TST perfectly counters what WTK was planning to send. WTK is forced to waste I here. It's not looking good. Gohan just has so much pressure at the ready. They're going to start to cascade it right about now, but WTK can build pressure of their own at a moment's notice. This is the standard. And those misdrops from Gohan, I think they just die here. Very impressive 12-line down stack, but WTK is just in prime position to go max efficiency even on the partial. They send over 30. Gohan is alive! Gohan is alive! They find the Tetris here. But they're still in a very rough spot. WTK is able to keep their zone meter. They know that they're safe. They know that they're not receiving anything. But WTK misdrops just gonna put a hamper in their pressure. This is the time that Gohan needs right now. And WTK is misdropping even further. Their advantage slipping away at every placement. Standing over 41, but Gohan sees the light of day. It's a partial, but it's still 3/4. That's more than respectable. That's more than enough to potentially take it here. They're gonna get max lines. They're gonna send 40. They're gonna have this T-spin afterwards. Gohan tanks to send the fractal. Rule of twos. WTK isn't ready and is forced to tank. Very excellent donation from Gohan there. Their Q didn't agree with them, but they managed. WTK forced to take that partial. Sends over 21, which is entirely mitigation. But right now, they have no combo. And with no combo, they have to deal with Gohan pressure. It's not looking good. Very precarious situation. They do find this T-spin while on their down stack. They find a second one. Gohan's looking to find this rule of two spike. And they don't even need it. Gohan takes it! Assessment passed! And Gohan successfully takes out their group Titan!